Good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Nikki Burnett with Taste Life Nutrition Radio, streaming live on the amazing KUHSdenver.com. It's just me today, and a little bit of an announcement. We talked about this last week, but we are weekly now instead of every 2 weeks. So I'm super excited about that. We have amazing guests for you over the next several months who we have all planned out for you, and then and today is just me. So this is always fun for me. I get to talk about what I want to talk about and have a little bit of fun with it, and yeah, just let's have some fun and talk about what it means to build community and why it's so important in the healing process. You know, we have these experiences in life that can create, you know, emotional trauma, physical trauma, mental trauma, and then just times where we need to have people surrounding us in that support system. And so I want to dig into that a little bit. But first off, what are we about? And I think it's important to talk about this because, you know, we talk about a lot of things here. We talk about health and wellness and mindset and, you know, relational health and that kind of thing. But really, this is the third year. We're going into our third year of this show. And it's an interesting thing that the first year I was really nervous about it. And it was a community who came in and helped build me up saying, you can do this, right? And so just before I decided to do the show, there was, I had a friend of mine, he had a party, and it's a little bit silly, but it's not because it really impacted me. But he said that he had everybody get together and do their word of the year and put it on a bracelet. And so literally, so this was 2 years ago, literally I had that bracelet on until 2 days ago. And so what it was and what it meant to me was the word truth. And I brought that into the show. I bring it into my life. I bring it into my practice with my clients. And so now I have, instead of it being an ugly washer, because it was just a washer, now I have my word of the year for this year and for 2 years ago. Last year I would say my word was truth as well. I wasn't as inspired last year by what the word would mean. I think it was just a tough year for everybody. This year though, so I have truth, and this year it's growth. And it's growth in every aspect of the word. Sure, it's growth in business, but it's growth in my spiritual health. It's growth in my community. It's growth in my relationship with my husband and with my friends. And then, you know, growing communities. I'm a part of multiple communities. I'm growing my own communities. And I just want to share and anything that I learn all the way down. See, every time I mess something up. There we go. Music's all the way down. Thanks, Henry. Even when I'm alone, I'm going to mess up the technology. It's amazing. Anyway, so my word of the year this year, growth, and I'm grateful for that the word. I'm grateful for when they come to me. I don't really have to think about it. It's like, this is it, and this is what it means. You know, I work really hard. Well, I am working really hard. I wasn't for a while, but to set time aside as soon as I wake up in the morning to work on whatever that word is. So truth is still there for me. You know, so truth in what I believe and what I inspire to be and what I want to be, and in my studies, my Bible studies, and you know, in the relationships, and you know, the show. I love this show. And then, you know, then now it's growth and getting up in the morning and being grateful for the growth that is to come in so many ways, and being super intentional about what that looks like, what growth looks like, and where I want to be. You know, when I'm thinking about what I want my word to be for 2023, and thinking about, you know, today, you know, and what's going to happen, what will transpire, what it's going to look like, what I'm going to look like, how I'm going to change. Those are the things that I get really excited about. And so, you know, I talked about my morning ritual of getting up and it's, you know, prayer and meditation and some Bible study. I've said a couple of times, there's a book that I've been reading. It's the prayer. prayer guide, prayer warrior guide, I believe. Now I can't remember. I should have brought it. It's a great book. It really is. But it teaches you how to pray, which sounds really simple, but it's really given me some kind of cool tools, which I really appreciate, and it helps me to be more intentional. We know about being intentional in life, and I'm super intentional in my relationships. I've not always been intentional in my relationships. We can talk about that a little bit, but that practice of gratitude every morning. So we start the show with gratitude, and I think that today what I'm super grateful for is the growth that I've experienced over my lifetime, and bringing in, and being intentional in what I'm doing and where I'm going, and in my relationships, and in building communities, and being part of communities. I love to share, but I love to learn, so then I can share, right? And that's what's so amazing about life, is it can be so hard, but those are the times that we learn so much, and then we can share so much, right? And I appreciate that. And if it's not hard, then you don't get it when it's easy. You don't appreciate it when it's easy. And so that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the people who I'm surrounded by, who lift me up. And so I was talking about being intentional with who I'm surrounded by. I think this is a part of community, and choosing the community who you believe will best suit you and be supportive of you, of your needs, of whatever is going on for you. And then at the same time, you can help to support and to build and to grow others. This is what community's about. And, I've had, in my life, of course, there have been times I've made really poor decisions, really terrible decisions. And I've surrounded myself with people who were not as supportive as I would hope that they would be. And that's a part of growth. And so I have this, now I literally am surrounded by some of the most amazing people, some of the amazing women entrepreneurs who want to check in and want to get together and want to build each other. And most of us are very much in the same space. We're in the health and wellness space. And a lot of times, what we do, it totally overlaps. But it's okay, because there's so many people out there who need to hear or need to experience what we have to offer, whatever that might be. And it may not be for me, it might be from somebody else, but somebody needs to experience what I have. Somebody needs to experience what my community of practitioners has. And I love the fact that if I find someone and it's not me, then I know where to go to, right? I know who to send people to, who can give the very best help, who I trust, and building that community and that community support, both as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as a healthcare professional. All of these things have helped me to grow and to really want to just become better and be able to give more, and then continue to build that community so I'm able to give more, even if it's not for me, it's from somebody else. So being intentional has helped me grow, helped me experience life, and helped me to build what I believe to be some of the most amazing people I'm surrounded by, and a lot of those people I have on the show. And with this show, it has even built even more community. I have my listeners who I just love and appreciate so much. But the people who I have found to come on the show, a lot of them, especially as of late, I don't know well, but I get to know them before we get on the show. We talk, we have an amazing connection, and the people who I bring on have such amazing things to share. I appreciate them so much, and a lot of them are entrepreneurial women. It's just kind of the way it's turned out. I want men on the show too, but entrepreneurial women, it's really fun. This is kind of the community that I've built. So as I go through and I think about the communities that I want to build, who support the people who come to me for support, right? So my clients, or even if it's friends and family, or people who are maybe outside of my inner circle of clients and families and friends, so maybe it's some of you who are listening to the show who are just looking and reaching out for some guidance or some light. Where is it that maybe you can go to find help in whatever your situation is? And that's another reason why I do the show, because I want people to have the ability to see that there is amazing guidance, amazing help, amazing support outside of the everyday, outside of your allopathic physician, which they're amazing. This isn't saying this is bad. This is good. It's really good. You have to have your team, but there are people who can really be there to support you if you're having mental struggles, emotional struggles, physical struggles, spiritual struggles, right? And this is why this show is here, is because I want to bring people on who have something to offer, who stand out in the world and can really be a bright, shining light and lift people up, lift me up. That's what I expect from my community and communities that I belong to, is to be lifted up. And if we're all lifted, it changes the vibration, and it really, it sounds woo-woo, but it's not. It's a fact. We're all energetic beings, and if we're lifting each other up, then it spreads and it goes throughout the world. And I know that seems a little bit, that's probably totally woo-woo. It could happen if we all focused on, bringing up our vibration and stopping the negativity and stopping the negative self-talk and supporting each other. But I know that that's a big ask. But I do think that within our communities, we can start to make an impact, and we can change the mindset that we have to bring in the positive. Even if things are hard, even if you don't agree with everyone, even if you have massive differences, political, social, economical, whatever it is, if we could all find some common ground and bring up that vibration, bring in joy, because there's so much in this world to be grateful for, and that's why I start the show with gratitude. That's why I think it's important that we talk about it, and it's important that we work really hard to bring up our own vibration. And if we're having a hard time with it, that's when community comes in, because community then you can find the support to help you. A community can help you find maybe that one coach or that one person or that one therapist or that one doctor or that one naturopath or the one nutritionist that can help you get to where you want to be, because we can't always do it on our own. I know I can't. I have my own experiences with frustration and growth, right? Frustration and, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not working enough. I work a lot, but, things aren't moving, as quickly as I think that they should move. And sometimes I have to understand that I need to find somebody to help me get out of my own way, which is actually something I'm working on right now. And I think it's okay. I know it's okay. It's a good thing to know that we all should be seekers in our own way. I'm a seeker of health and wellness, and of creating the best health for people that I can. I'm a seeker of truth and understanding, and a seeker of how I can help people to feel their best and to perform their best. But I'm also a seeker if I know that I'm having some problems, some deficiencies, whether it's nutritional deficiencies or mindset deficiencies, that I know that I have a community I can go to, and I can find someone who is able and who I trust, who can help me address those deficiencies, right? And so when we talk about building these communities, so often we build these communities because of toxicity, and it sounds terrible, but it's true. Even pre-COVID, it's the beautiful thing is we have. So I have a CrossFit gym who has done a great job at building community, and they started this pre-COVID. I have a yoga instructor who has done a great job at building community. And so, there are lots of groups now who are working to build community because that's what people need. And now we've come into this COVID place where it's almost devoid of community, especially for our young kids, right? They have been, they hate it when my words leave me. It happens all the time. But they're secluded, right? They've not been able to go to school. Kids are like the epitome of community. I mean, they rely on their friends. They rely on their teammates. They rely on their group to learn how to grow and learn how to be functional adults. And what has happened is they've been taken away from that. I was looking, there is a stat showing that, of course I need my glasses. There's a stat showing that suicide attempts were 22.3% higher during the summer of 2020 and 39.1% higher during the winter of 2021 than during the corresponding periods of 2019. What is that? I mean, that is heartbreaking that this is where we are right now. It's heartbreaking. And there was another stat within that. I didn't write it down, but many of those, I think the majority of those, are girls. And so to take community away has the potential of just being torture, right? And it creates these mental and emotional and psychological distresses, right? I mean, it creates more stress, it creates, loneliness. And the fact that this is where we are right now, it's a terrible place. And so I want to, as many are doing, I'm not the only one here, but create that community of support, even if it's online. Do it on Zoom. Have people who are surrounding you or surrounding your kids. And oh gosh, I say this, even if it's online, it's really frustrating because the kids today are always online. And I know that that's also a problem in and of itself. But there still needs to be community, and there needs to be people who are together, who are like-minded, because these mental and emotional toxicities that create stress, that create frustration and anxiety and depression, on top of, and this came from a conversation I was having last night at dinner with a group of friends, even prior to COVID, there's the suicide rates were probably more elevated, but there's the anxiety and the depression, and with kids as well as adults. But why is that? What's going on that's creating the situation where we're so unhappy? And so much of it is due to nutrient deficiency, right? So we go, life is fast, and so we need to eat fast, and so we go to McDonald's. We don't make eating a priority when eating is everything. It's a lot of everything, right? And we're not feeding our bodies. And so we go to McDonald's, or we go to Burger King, or we, eat a cookie, or we don't eat at all. And we go. We can't figure out why we can't lose weight. We can't figure out why we're depressed, why we have anxiety, why kids have pimples, why we have hormonal imbalances, why we have all of these things that are going on when we're not feeding our bodies. Then if you've listened to the show, you've heard me say it, and I probably say it every show because I think it's so important. But food is a language. Food literally tells our bodies what to do. And if it's clean food, then our bodies have a clear line of communication to our cells, to our DNA, our mitochondria. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I love mitochondria. They're such cool little creatures because they're not of us. But, if we have clean food, then our body knows what to do. The communication is like we're speaking the same language, right? But if we're eating food that is full of toxins, full of preservatives, pesticides, herbicides, which are hormone disruptors, and the colorings, I've said this before also. I say a lot of things a lot because they're so important, but our kids who are dealing with ADD, ADHD, and we're not feeding them well, and they're getting these food colorings. The food colorings often cause this excitatory state, and it's in the brain, and the kids can't handle it. But then we put them on drugs, right? And so good food is essential. And so getting back to food as a language, if we're eating these things with all of these toxicities or toxicants in them, then we're sending this really broken line of communication to our cells and to our DNA. And so what happens? The body doesn't understand. It's like me speaking Spanish or French. I don't. So I don't understand. And there may be little words here and there that I get, but I'm still like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what you're telling me. Oh, maybe I got that. Well, I still don't know. And so I'm gonna put my flag up, like, you got to stop. I don't know what you're telling me to do. And so what is that? That's your body. It's knocking on the door going, hey, I need you to pay attention. I'm trying to talk to you and tell you that this pain means that there's a problem. This anxiety means that there's a problem. This depression, this brain fog, this joint pain or GI pain or heartburn, or flat out diabetes or cardiovascular disease or Alzheimer's disease. These are symptoms. We call them diseases, but it's dis-ease. The body is in a state of dis-ease. It doesn't understand what it is it's supposed to be doing. So it has its protective mechanisms that we can say, oh, this is a problem. Like in Alzheimer's disease, it's the plaque that grows, that surrounds the brain, is more likely a protective mechanism than what actually is causing Alzheimer's. And by the way, Alzheimer's is being reversed. If you have not heard this, know that it's true. It can be reversed. And I'm not saying it can be for everyone, but know that these chronic diseases, Parkinson's, we can reduce symptoms of Parkinson's. We can reduce symptoms of Alzheimer's. Now, doesn't mean that they'll go away forever. You've got to be really, really diligent, and you have to want it. But it's true, and it's a fact. And if you're dealing with it, find somebody who can help you, because understanding that even a disease is a symptom means that it's because there's a malfunctioning or multiple malfunctionings going on in the body, and the body is just doing all it knows to do because it's not sure what it's supposed to do. So understanding what food is and how important it is, and how important it is on a developing brain. I hear so often, I don't often do this, but we had dinner with friends the other night, and I asked my husband, I said, okay, well, what side do you want me to make? He's like, I want you to make macaroni and cheese with bacon. I was like, well, okay. So he's like, but I want you to make it with gluten-free noodles, which shocked me because he's not gluten-free. I am. And so I made it, and I even ate it. I eat very little cheese, but I did eat it. It was pretty good. Probably not great, but it was pretty good. But I thought of this because I hear constantly parents talking about, whether it's directly or indirectly, how the only thing that their kid will eat is macaroni and cheese. I don't know what it is about macaroni and cheese. I mean, it is delicious. I remember eating macaroni and cheese out of the box as a kid, right? The blue box. That powdered cheese. Ugh, awful. Anyway, I did not use powdered cheese, by the way. But when we hear that all our kids will eat is just this one thing, imagine the nutrient deficiencies that they're experiencing. Their body is not getting fed. They're getting food in their belly, or they're getting something in their belly, a lot of sugar, a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of stuff that the body's like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm going to sit, I'm going to hold on to it, and then my liver's going to hold on to it, and my fat cells are going to hold on to it, and I'm not going to feed the brain, I'm not going to feed the heart, I'm not going to feed the kidneys or the gut. I'm just gonna, I don't know what to do with this, so I just hold on to it, right? And so these are the things that create, just really nasty symptoms. And, our kids, we want our kids to grow up as functioning, successful, healthy adults, and that starts pre-birth. It starts with me. I probably couldn't have kids now. I definitely couldn't because my husband can't. But at the point that I am now, we're not having kids. But if I were to decide that's what I wanted to do, I would want to make sure that everything that I do is in line and my body is as healthy as possible, because what the data shows is our genetic expression can pass on to our kids for 7 generations. 7 generations is huge. And so when we think that what we're doing is not affecting our child because, well, the child is going to take whatever it needs and then it's going to, be born and it's going to move on and it's its own little kid, its own little person, this is not the case. So if we have an autoimmune condition or if we have, a situation where our blood sugar is out of control, which affects our genetics, all the things that we do, our stress levels, our prayer meditation or lack thereof, our movement or lack thereof, our food, good or bad, trauma in our lives, the way that we handle trauma, everything that we do affects our genetic expression or has the potential of affecting our genetic expression, which then has the potential of affecting our kids, kids, and our grandkids. And we can see it. We can see it throughout, as our traditional foods have changed over the years, we can see that we're not getting any better. We just keep getting sicker. And even though our medical system, the amount of information that we have now and the ability that we have to help people with acute conditions and even what we know now about dealing with chronic conditions, we're not getting better. We went through the low-fat phase because it was creating cardiovascular disease. And what happened? We put in a lot of sugar and a lot of fake fat. And cardiovascular disease is certainly not any better. We made cholesterol the devil. And cardiovascular disease is not any better. Lowering cholesterol does not mean you're not going to have a heart attack or a stroke. Understand that. If I did a cholesterol show back, I don't know, it might have been this time last year, something like that. I don't remember exactly when it was, but you can search for it. But we talk about cholesterol. I think it's a really, really, really important topic. And I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but it's an important one to understand. It's important to know that just looking at your lipids is not the end-all be-all. They can give us some information, but it doesn't give us all of the information. So before you go on statins, I have to say it, before you go on statins, know all of the answers. Don't just have a lipid panel. Dig deeper. Look at your particle sizes. Understand it. If you're not finding somebody who will help you look at your particle sizes, find somebody who will. Dig deeper. Always ask why. Never settle for, well, it's just because that's the way that it is. It's never, ever because that's the way that it is, unless there's a genetic condition that we're born with, which is, 3 to 5% of the diseases that we deal with are true genetic conditions. Most everything that we deal with are lifestyle conditions. And, if you've seen my website, I think it should still say, we do have control over our genetic destiny. Because we do. And it's that important to remember that everything that we do affects our own genetic makeup, or genetic expression, as well as the generations to come. So, we're talking about, as we, continue to talk about building community and, and what community means around the health and healing journey. One of the things that comes to me, especially as we're talking about mental and emotional toxicity, whether it's, dealing with the COVID stuff or, emotional stress and trauma, the negative self-talk, the bullying, whatever the case may be. Building community is biblical. And I don't care what your beliefs are, it is. It's in the Bible. And it is a God-created protection for us to live in community and build community, which is why he says, go to church. It's not about watching it online, which I am certainly guilty of. Sometimes it's just easy, right? It's easy. But the reason that we are directed to go to church is because there is that community of like-minded individuals who are there to support and to help and to pray and to guide and to educate, and then you're there to do all of those things as well. And so whatever your church is, that's the reason for it. It's building that community of support and knowing that it's protection. I think that a lot of times we see things in the Bible and we see them as, you know, a demand, and as, you know, well, it doesn't make any sense to not be able to do this or that, or I don't understand why he says that, or why the book says that, because it just doesn't make any sense to me, or, you know, whatever. When I think if we flip that on its head a little bit, it's really more about protection. It's about protecting us from the evil that is around us all the time. And you know, the Bible is a beautifully written, amazing Word of God. And knowing, though, if you know and believe and trust where God is coming from, right? He's your dad, right? If you know, he's your good dad. You know, we don't all have good dads. I have an amazing dad. But, you know, God is your dad. You know, he's there to be your protector. He's there. He wants the best for you. He wants you to flourish and to be successful and to have this amazing life. You know, doesn't mean life is going to be always good. It's going to be really freaking hard sometimes. But that's what, you know, that's when I started seeing it that way, because I didn't always see it that way. There were times I said, I don't understand. Why does the Bible say that? You know, I don't need to be told what to do, or whatever, you know, the case may be. You know, that attitude that comes in. Understanding that, you know, we are here to be protected. We're protected by God, and we're here to be protective of each other. And I also believe that we're here to be protective of the animals. You know, as a hardcore animal person who believes in real food for animals, and I also believe that we were meant to eat meat. I do believe that, not in large amounts, but I do believe it. Just by the data, by our biochemistry, and I'm not going to get into that. I probably should at some point, but I think I have actually. But the way that we're built, the way our biochemistry is, you know, there are things that we get from meat that we can't get from anywhere else. We're not intended to take supplements. I don't have a problem with supplements. I love supplements, but we are intended to get our nutrients from food, and meat is a part of that, and it's just the way that it is. So we're here to care for them and protect and serve animals, because in many cases they protect and they serve us in the end, or throughout their life. Think about dogs, right? I mean, they serve and protect us all the time. All the time. I mean, dog lover, that's what happens. So then we kind of start getting into, you know, the physical toxicities, right? The physical toxicities we're surrounded by today include infections. It includes worms. Worms, people. We're going to talk about this a lot, because I'm going to start talking about it a lot, because it is a problem. It's a problem for our society. It's a problem for our world. It very likely is at the core of many, many, many of our chronic conditions. And if we don't address infection, if it's parasitic, if it's a worm, if it's bacterial, if it's yeast, if we don't address infection anywhere in the body, it can be in the sinuses, it can be in the brain, it can be systemic, it can be in the gut, it can be everywhere. If we don't address that, then the problem won't go away. You might get rid of symptoms for a while, but likely symptoms are going to come back. And we're not meant to be minimal eaters. I mean, when I say that, you know, only have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 foods that we can eat. This is not the way that it's supposed to be. And if this is you, start digging, start finding somebody who can dig for you, who understands that the body's not created to only eat a few foods. It's created to eat a wide variety of foods. And if you're only able to eat a few foods, it's because your immune system is pissed, right? So it's upregulated, and it's angry, and it's trying to deal with whatever's going on, and it needs help. It needs your guidance. It needs somebody to help you guide it, so you know what to do in order to allow it to balance, and for the immune system to regulate. So know that. Know if you have constant hives. Know if you have constant sinus infections. Know if you have consistent food sensitivities and pain and all of these things that can happen. You know, the fatigue and the brain fog. These are things that I say all the time. It's not normal. It's not because of age. It's not because of bad luck. It's not because you got the, you know, bad straw. It's not because of genetics. There's something going on. Listen to your body. Your body's trying to talk to you. Help it. Help, you know, find somebody who knows how to listen to it. You know, one of my favorite things, of course, is running labs. I love to run labs. It gives me so much information, but I'm going to tell you, that as I dig deeper into these pathogenic microbes that many of us, including myself, are dealing with, they are, especially worms, rarely come up on labs. And if they do, it's because there's a massive, massive overabundance of them. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I did my own testing. Never, not one time, on multiple occasions, did I come up positive for worms. Yes, I had worms. I probably still do. I'm working on that. So understand, I'm putting it out there. It may be gross. It's probably you too. I'm not lying. It's a crazy thing, but I knew that my body was dealing with a burden that, and I just had no idea what it was. And so I have done, on multiple occasions, I'm about to start another one, what we call a full moon cleanse, because parasites are more active during a full moon cleanse. During a full moon. So it's important to know how to do it. You don't just go into it. So understand, well, this leads me to our sponsor, because this is Cellcore. Cellcore is an amazing company. They're the most innovative supplement company that I've probably come across to date. And they're amazing because of the way that the delivery system of their herbs and other nutrients, right? And their binders being what helps pull out toxicity. So they are amazing at what they do. I am using them on a regular basis with clients, with myself, and this is the only way that I knew that I had any kind of parasitic infection, was by just going through and doing the protocols. And understanding that it can be tough with clients. I'm like, we got to test, but we may not find worms. So understanding that we don't always see things on labs. Labs are not 100%, but they're amazing at giving us really, really good information. And once we do, if we have worms, which again, most of us do, if we have them, then, and they don't show up, we eliminate them. The other things that the body's trying to deal with, the other symptoms and the pains and the brain fog and the anxiety and all these other things, they then will go away, because the body knows how to deal with it and how to handle it. And then they start absorbing nutrients. These parasites, they hold on to nutrients. They hold on to toxins. They hold on to heavy metals. And so they create this massive toxic burden on the body, and it can really, really create havoc on a body and on a body. So I'm grateful that I didn't have a lot of symptoms, but I'll tell you that I have seen some pretty incredible changes in my skin and my brain function as I've moved through this process, and I'm still not finished yet. So understanding that. And so I think on that, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about why I wanted to talk about community. So as I have moved through the process of building a practice, seeing hundreds of clients, understanding what their needs are, dealing with them one-on-one, and this is what I've done is worked with clients one-on-one for the last 7 years. And it's an amazing experience to watch people go from defeated, right, to free. I think is the best way that I can put it. And it's a beautiful process to get to know your body, to learn your body, to understand what your body needs, to realize that it's not that food doesn't like you, but your body is mad, right? So a lot of people are like, why does food hate me? I can't eat anything. It's not the food, it's your body is angry. But that's the thing, is why is it angry? Always ask why. I'm going to say it a million times. Dig deeper and always ask why. Is it infection? If you have inflammation, why do you have inflammation? If you have leaky gut, why do you have leaky gut, right? There's always a why. There's always a deeper answer. If you have SIBO, why do you have SIBO? Things like SIBO and Candida are rarely the cause of your symptoms. They're also a symptom in a sense, because you have something going on that doesn't allow the body to balance the microbes in your body. So yes, it could be antibiotics, but let's go deeper than that, right? You know, if you did, you know, courses and courses of antibiotics growing up, it can go deeper than that. And so what I have decided to do is to create a community and create a group coaching experience with this community. And I'm super excited about it because this is what I've been asked for a long time. And I just, you know, you focus on other things. We've been focusing on building a course forever, which is amazing. You've heard me talk about Body Bliss. Body Bliss is awesome. We're going to start doing some local pop-ups that are Body Bliss pop-ups. So if you're local to the Colorado area, the Denver Wheat Ridge area, then join us. We'll start putting out information on the pop-ups. First one coming up this Saturday. And if you listen to Dr. Lynn Tran's show and Dr. Sam McDonald's show, Dr. Lynn is my business partner in Body Bliss, and so this is kind of a, you know, a heart-led experience that we're putting together. And Dr. Lynn, by the way, is our local West Metro queen. She's gonna hate me right now because I don't know what she is exactly, but she's basically in you know, Colorado beauty pageant, you know, the Mrs. pageant, and so she is she's doing amazing things with that. It's really fun. Keep an eye out for her. Watch their show. I believe it's going to be next week. They're doing every other week, so on next week on Friday. But the point of that is, you know, look for the course, look for the Body Bliss course. It's a self-directed, self-led, on-demand course, 12 weeks. It's really, really amazing. And so then putting together this group coaching course, it's a very different approach, and it's very much what I would do while working with clients and actually putting them through a supplement protocol. So the Body Bliss course does not have supplements and it does not have labs. It's truly getting to know your body and understanding your body and what it needs and how it needs it, and doing assessments and getting the education, whereas doing the group coaching, but what we're also doing accountability calls as well, right? So you get some live stuff. But the group coaching is true group coaching where we're supporting each other, building a community, dealing with whatever everybody's issues are. But the key to it is these issues typically are not what you think. Again, it goes back to just because you have GI distress doesn't mean it's because you have a tummy ache, or doesn't mean it's just because the food doesn't like you, right? We want to dig deeper. We need to understand what it's coming from. And so often, I don't know, I'm not going to give it a percentage, but it's really, really high, okay? It's because of infection. Bacterial, yeast, parasite, worm. And worms are a huge, I can't say it enough. It's going to gross you out, and that's okay. But you're going to hear it, and it's important to know. So we go through an antimicrobial protocol using the CellCore products because they're the products that work the best. I've been through many antimicrobial protocols before and have never had the experience that I've had with CellCore products. CellCore products, I'm going to say it is literally changing lives. If you saw the show last week with my guest who is also a practitioner, she has massive mold infection, which a lot of times leads to other co-infections. And the CellCore products have changed her life. She has lots and lots of experience with the CellCore products, and it's changed. She's had hundreds and hundreds of clients on this on CellCore, and it is changing lives. And so when I talk about, you know, the potential for reducing symptoms of Parkinson's disease, CellCore likely has the potential, done properly, of doing that. Because do you have Parkinson's or do you have an infection? Do you have metal toxicity? Do you have environmental chemical sensitivities, right? Or burdens, right? Toxic burdens. And so these are things that are always found. And if you have these toxic burdens and these toxicities sitting in your tissues and in your brain tissue, sure, it's going to create a massive problem for you. So we need to know how to address the body, to prepare it, then to help it to eliminate these toxicities so it can then focus on other areas of the body and start to balance again. So with all of that being said, I think that it's you know, building a community is key. especially when you're going through a health journey. If you want to optimize, if you have symptoms, if you have a full-blown disease, if you're unable to lose weight, if you're unable to gain weight, if you are in a place where you have been from doctor to doctor to doctor, nobody can tell you what's going on or why, you know, it might be time to start digging. Dig deeper. This protocol, this group coaching course that I'm about to start doing, we're going to start it on February 17th, and in the comments, I'll post all the information that you need. But we're starting February 17th. It is going to be Zoom, so we can do this from anywhere, right? Anybody can join us, and that's what excites me the most, is we can have people from all over the world who come together, who want to be a part of this, who want to help each other, but who also want to feel better, who want to optimize, who want to reduce symptoms, who want to allow their body to get out of a state of dis-ease, right? And that's the goal of this. I'm super stoked about it. It's 3 months, okay? And we start with clearing and draining. So we don't immediately go into eliminating microbes, because it could be a huge problem. Huge problem. We don't do that, but we want to prepare the body and its drainage pathways and its detoxification pathways in order to allow it to be open, so we can rid the body of the microbes that are creating such a burden. So I think that's what I got. It's interesting talking for a full hour all by myself, or almost an hour all by myself. It's not something that I do on a regular basis, but you know, I'm excited about this program. I'm excited about what it can offer and what it can bring, and the health it can bring. My hope is to reach so many people, to start to bring health and to start to eliminate these things that we don't understand that we have. I had no idea. And it's an amazing process. It's not necessarily easy, okay? It can be hard. But it's a good one. We talk every single week. I have lots and tons of resources and planners and cookbooks and, you know, all of the things that you'll need in order to be successful, as well as weekly Zoom calls where we're all together, we're talking through stuff, and we're working through the things that we need to work through in order to be successful in this program. So I hope you join me. I hope next week I'll have a QR code sitting up there, so you can click on that if you want to. But we'll put all the information in all areas where the show is aired. And of course, you can go to tastelifenutrition.com. You can fill out an assessment there, and I'll reach out to you personally, and we can chat about it. That's a great way to reach out to me if you're interested in this program. Or in any other program, you know, if the course or a one-on-one, or just have questions, you know. If there are things you want me to talk about here on the show, let me know. If you have people who you think are going to be amazing to have on the show, let me know. You know, I want to meet amazing people, and I want to share what amazing people have to offer. So I'm grateful that you joined me. I will be here again next week with my guest. I should have written her down, and I didn't do it. There's always something, right? But we'll start promoting here in the next couple of days, and you'll see who it is. But join me every week here on the amazing KUHS Denver, streaming live, and we will catch you next week. Bye.